Okay.
Now, you, red light, you're good.
Okay, I didn't have the red light, and I thought, I'm not, yeah, it was, okay, I just didn't push it hard enough. Okay.
All right.
Okay, thanks. All right, we got it now. I just didn't push it hard enough. I am so sorry. One more time. I just didn't push the button hard enough. Okay.
Okay.
We're here today to talk about Palmetto Dunes, Leamington, and Shelter Cove. Beth Drake and Chris Byers are going to share their knowledge with us. And Beth, take it away.
Okay. Palmetto Dunes is one of the finest destinations in the world, according to several different travel magazines. They've got world-renowned tennis courts and golf courses. 3 miles of beach, and it is in the middle of the island, so it has some of the widest beach on Hilton Head. Palmetto Dunes was developed by the Greenwood Corporation back in the 70s. They have 11 miles of winding lagoons throughout the resort, so people can kayak and fish. Some of the fishing is some of the best bass catching around, and has been featured on some of the fishing channels back in the very back of some of the lagoons. People always ask about alligators, and yes, there are alligators in Palmetto Dunes, along with fish. And there's not really too big of alligators, though. You don't see the real large ones. They have 932 homes and lots and 1,241 villas. The Property Owner Association fee is $1,321 a year, and this includes the upkeep of all the infrastructure. And you also have a couple of property owners' beach access areas. There's the beach club where you can get drinks and cocktails and food. There are a lot of weddings that are held there. That's located on the beach. And then property owners can also park in the Disney Beach Resort area. So if you're selling over there, that's really important to know that it's not just for Disney, but you can go and park over there and leave your car and use the beach there as well. The transfer fee, if you sell a property there, is $200, and that's paid by the seller. Shelter Cove is across the way, and it has a lower fee of about approximately $875, somewhere right in there. And that also includes the St. Andrews Commons. Well, there was some controversy on that, but you have to double check, but I believe still includes that. And we'll also talk about Leamington after this. You want to flip it to the next one? This is a large map I know it's a little hard to see, especially on TV, but you can see that this is called the North Gate of Palmetto Dunes here. There's a access gate here, and these are all beach properties about 3 or 4 deep depending on where you go. The majority on this side is homes. To the left over here is mostly villas, and then this is all Leamington in here, this part of Palmetto Dunes. And then Shelter Cove is up here at the top. Okay. Some of the amenities included, as I mentioned, the Property Owners Beach Club with discounts. Most property owners have a little 20% discount card. The Dunes Buggy, that's a big feature, so that you can just have a phone call and be picked up, and that's guests love that. They can get rides over to Shelter Cove, over to the shopping area over there, anywhere in the resort. So if they are staying back in some of the villas that are 4 or 5 blocks from the beach, they can just call and get a lift right to the beach. There's lots of bike paths. And as I mentioned, the tennis facilities are world-renowned. There's clinics, and people come from all over for the tennis clinics that are held there and the activities. They have been voted, they're in the top 10 luxury family resorts by Forbes. 50 that they consistently get in the tennis magazine as the top 50 greatest U.S. tennis resorts. Tennis Resorts Online has been voted, they voted them the best junior programs and instructional programs. Let's see. And then of course the golf courses. The golf courses There's 3 different golf courses that are ranked as well. Okay, we'll go to the next one.
Yep.
Okay. Again, the Marriott is located in Palmetto Dunes, as is the Omni. This used to be called the Hilton Resort, but it's recently been renovated, so they're undergoing a complete renovation, as well as the Marriott that did a huge spa renovation a couple summers ago. There's bike and boat rentals. There's a general store where you can get little groceries and lunch, dinner. And then Shelter Cove has lots of shopping and boating. You can get fishing trips out of there. And so it's a big resort area. Now this is interesting, and I just included this. This is the new plan for the mall. Since Shelter Cove is so tied to the whole mall area as well. Back here is Newport Villas that are part of Palmetto Dunes. But this is the new plan, and right now, as you can tell, that they're tearing down the old mall, which was the indoor mall, and making for this open air type feeling mall. And there's a pier that will be going out to Broad Creek. They will be having some high-end apartments, and when I asked the town council why that's not condos, the reply was because so many of the condos, once they're condos, you can't do anything 30, 50 years from now. So the town decided to do high-end apartments there instead.
So will the town own those?
I don't know who's going to own them.
Right.
I don't know. So but it's going to be a nice facility with a pier and eating establishments. You want to go to the next one?
Sure.
And this is just another view where you can kind of see the conceptual drawings.
These are nice slides, Beth.
Okay.
Do you have any idea when it's going to be done?
Well, they've already started.
Yeah.
So they're supposed to be done like, what, next year or before?
9 months, maybe?
Yeah.
Where
Yeah,
did you
by
get
next
these
summer.
slides?
From just the town.
Nice.
Yeah. And so you can see where Newport Villas are way over to the left there. I know that there's some listings in there.
Where are the
And the
apartments
reason-
gonna be?
Pardon me?
Where are the apartments gonna be?
The apartments are going to be all in here,
So right next to
Right there,
Newport and
And then on the other side?
and then there's some other multifamily apartments in here as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and then some offices. And I don't know if anybody asked why the Belks is there. If you know the reason, it's because this Belks is one of their most profitable belts in all of the Southeast. And they had just renewed their lease a few years ago and did renovations, so they refused to close it. Otherwise, this whole thing would have been completely redone. So this whole plan was done around Belks keeping their 2 stores.
Interesting.
we need a department store.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish it could be
Yeah.
Nordstrom.
I was just going to say that. Me too. I think we should petition the
They
town.
didn't let us vote.
So
Probably
we'll
want
go
more shoe
back.
stores too.
I would like to mention about Leamington. Leamington's an upscale for people that want a place near the beach. Great residential area. There's 2 gates as well. There's a gated entry on Highway 278, and you have to be a property owner to access that. Realtors cannot go through there with a real estate pass.
Right.
So you have to go all the way around to go there. And there's also another gated entry on Ocean Lane as well. There's no short-term rentals are allowed behind the gates of Leamington, but golf carts are allowed back there. So you'll see a lot of people riding their golf carts around. And there's a nice pool, cabana complex for property owners within the gates of Leamington. And there's kayaking and all back there as well. They have a nice beach house just for property owners too, and so they could ride their golf carts there and use
It's
the
wonderful.
beach.
It's absolutely wonderful.
It's really a beautiful beach location, wouldn't you say?
I would.
And then they do have a separate property owner association. They are not part of Palmetto Dunes. So if you're behind the gates in a home, it's right around, well, it's about $2,219 a year. And it's actually run by a completely different management.
So they don't
That
pay
is
the
not-
Palmetto,
They don't pay the
Dunes.
Palmetto Dunes, they pay the 2219.
I did not know.
Now, this is good to know too. I was showing a Huntington Villa last week, and the girl had it listed as 2219 proper for the POA fee. And I thought, well, that's strange because I knew Windsor was right around 674, or it's much lower on that side, all the villas are. And so sure enough, she had it wrong. So any of the villas, if we go back to the gate, to the map, that was like the second slide, go back some more. There you go. So if you go back to any of, like this is the Marriott, and then Leamington begins right in here, if you can see. So all of these villas that are part of the Leamington, they don't pay the $1321. Their yearly fees is like $600 and something a year, so it's much less.
And technically,
And they are newer.
even though you're quote in Leamington, you're before the gate, and you can do short-term rental.
Yes, you can do
In
short-term.
Windsor and Barrington and Huntington and all those properties.
Right.
So they're, because they're technically outside the gate, you can short-term rent there, although you cannot in Leamington proper behind the gate.
That's right. So you can rent there, but your dues are less, so you're really not able to use the gated amenities, like the
Right.
pool and the beach house.
Right.
That's only for people that own homes in Leamington, behind the gates.
So
Does that make sense?
do we pay
Yep.
the 1321 and the
No, you
678?
don't. Leamington is a completely separate association. They have their own board. They're managed by, their management company is Allied Management, runs them. So it's completely different. So it's much less to own over there.
So that those property owners can't use the beach club?
Right.
They can't use the Leamington Beach Club.
Not the
owners of-
Leamington Beach Club, they can use the other beach.
They can use the
Yes.
Palmetto Dunes
The
beach.
Palmetto
Yes.
Dunes, even though
Yes.
they don't pay the Palmetto Dunes fee.
That's right. It's
Okay.
strange, but that's how it works out.
Okay.
So their sticker will get them in off of 278 or through the Palmetto Dunes Southgate.
That's a good question. I don't know if it gets them off.
See,
of 278.
and I'd have to
think they have a
clarify, I'm not
Palmetto Dunes
sure.
sticker usually.
I
That's
would have
just an
thought,
electronic gate off of 278.
yeah, it is, but I'm
No,
not sure if.
Well,
because-
it's actually a guarded gate sometimes.
Is it guarded now?
They have a
Oh, I didn't know
full
that.
And it
guard in
closes
there.
at 7 o'clock every night, so if you've been invited to
Yeah,
go there, you
Yeah.
have, and it's past 7 o'clock,
right.
you have
You
to go all the way around.
Or the owners have electronic way to access it. Is that right?
Right.
Isn't there a clicker or a,
They do, yes.
or a
Right,
code,
the
coded
owners
entry?
Not a guest past 7
Correct,
o'clock.
Yeah.
yeah.
I
I didn't
understand.
realize it was a man gate.
So are
Yeah.
you saying you can't go into Leamington as a homeowner through the Palmetto Dunes guards?
No, you can.
Oh, you can?
You
Okay.
can.
Okay,
You can.
gotcha.
But, I mean, that 278 gate is really good
Right,
during the height of the summer season when
Gotcha.
all the cars are lined up on Saturday afternoon to get into the condo area.
right.
Big shortcut.
Yeah, it
So
is.
Beth,
It is.
you mentioned something about St. Andrews. What do they pay? Do they pay the,
I need to clarify that.
Well, I thought St.
They might
Andrews
pay
and Queens Grant paid a
1321.
different,
They do,
because
they
they're
pay-
outside the gates.
I
paid
thought they
something.
paid the Shelter Cove price.
They used to have to pay regular public
Right,
dues.
They
right,
did.
but then it
That's
was,
obviously been changed at some point.
now, Palmetto Dunes, it does have a plan that they are actively trying to do right now where they're gonna have a gate. They're working with the town. They bought the fire station within Palmetto Dunes. So Palmetto Dunes property owners owns the fire station. And they're gonna be trying to have one gate at the beginning. But they will still have the other gates because the property owners on the north part of Palmetto Dunes do not want hotel guests to be able to get into their area.
Right.
that's been ongoing
Yeah.
for years.
So
Yes.
that's,
At least 25 years.
Yes.
Yes.
yeah,
And Queens Grant also is before the gate, although they
Right.
certainly are part of Palmetto Dunes and they pay their annual and such, but, yeah, it's that you're before the gate, so moving the gate could be part of the answer.
So 3 or
Now-
4 stickers then.
Right, yeah.
Now, one more question before you move on. you said that the transfer fee was only $200?
No, you still have the town of Hilton Head, but
Right.
it's like a processing fee that the Palmetto Dunes POA
Because
charges.
they used to have, it used to be a fourth of.
1/4 of 1%.
Yeah.
Well, they
Yeah.
still have that, but this is a processing fee
Oh,
they
this is an
charge.
addition
Oh, this is an
to-
addition.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I didn't know that.
Doesn't Leamington also have an additional 1/4?
Yes, they do.
PD 1/4?
Right, you have the 1/4, well, Leamington wouldn't have the PD because they're separate.
Right.
Oh, okay, so you
Yeah,
pay
you
the
don't
town
have-
quarter and
Right,
then
if you're
the,
buying something in
Leamington.
Leamington, whether it's a Windsor Court, a Hampton Place, Huntington Villa, any of those,
Mhm.
you're not paying the Palmetto Dunes.
Okay.
It's through Leamington Association.
But
So
is there a
it's
transfer fee in
completely-
Leamington?
Yeah,
Does
there
Leamington
is.
Yes,
have
there
a
is.
1/4 of 1%?
It's a 1/4% fee.
Okay,
So you have that plus the town of Hilton Head.
200. No,
No,
the
the town
200
of-
is PD. Town of Hilton Head is 1/4 of 1%.
Right,
So you're gonna pay a half of 1%.
but you're gonna be
total.
paying a half. Mhm.
And I think Leamington is a half of it.
Okay, so wait a minute. So
don't
PD
think it
charges
was.
200 plus 1/4% plus you pay another 1/4% to the
Correct.
town of Hilton Head?
Mhm.
Same thing in Leamington?
Leamington,
Okay.
yes.
Wait, you're not saying 3. If you're in Leamington, you're
No.
a quarter, and then you pay the town.
Right, that's what I'm
quarter.
saying,
So a
it's
half
completely
in-
If you're in
separate.
Palmetto Dunes, you pay a quarter and a quarter to the
Right,
town.
okay.
Right.
Plus, in Palmetto Dunes, you pay the other $200.
They,
I
that's
wasn't
the
aware there was
process.
an
That was a seller
administrative
fee.
$200 fee.
Unless
Oh.
they've changed that, they
To
did
Palmetto
that
Dunes.
I don't
last
know
year.
about the $200.
Yeah, it was a
I mean, that's
process-
not a
they
big
call it
amount, but I was just
processing
clarifying.
fee. They call it a processing fee.
And you said the seller pays that.
The seller pays that, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, one thing that, that's kind of interesting in Leamington, if you're showing like back where the homes are, is to take them by the lighthouse. And all this can be found on palmettodunes.com, their website, and I printed off a sheet if anybody wants to make copies. Do you know about the historic, do you ever tell stories on that?
I don't think so.
But
The lighthouse in Leamington?
Yeah, my children used to get in trouble there.
Yeah, that's
It's
Okay.
arranged.
You might want to talk about it. I mean, it's kind of a
So I don't know
story.
anything about it.
Maybe after the showing, right?
What kind of story do we have?
Not before, buy the house.
Where is the lighthouse?
It's,
On
They
that
moved
back
it.
section of.
yeah, it's way back, like in Leamington, it's
Okay.
back,
Yeah.
it's right here, all back there. So
Yes.
whenever I'm showing property in Leamington, I try to go over there and tell them a little bit about the story. It was built somewhere between 1879 and 1880 as a larger system of navigation lights. And the original lighthouse included a keeper's house, forward beacon, and rear lighthouse. Today, it's one of only a handful of surviving lighthouses in South Carolina. So it's registered on the National Register of Historic Places, and it's 94 feet or tall. And it's interesting. There's a lot of ghost stories associated with it. So
Very cool.
yeah, so it's kind of a nice little thing to show people about the history about there.
Is this the one that's associated with the gray lady?
Yes.
Or the blue lady?
Yes, the blue lady.
Do you know the story?
The blue lady.
She was- She was waiting
Mm-hmm.
for her husband to come home.
These women
from
are always
sea.
waiting. No offense,
They're
guys.
always
But they're men.
waiting.
Yeah.
Well, she's still waiting.
Yeah, and I
That's
think
something you would have to disclose to a buyer when you get close to it.
Yes.
Of course, the ghost.
Right. Yeah, any more questions? Do you have something to add? Because
When I show Leamington, I tell people that it's like living in a gate behind a gate because it's double secure. And people that live there absolutely love it. And it's very quiet and peaceful. And of course, there's no rentals. And I think the ability to get on a golf cart is huge. To get on a golf cart and drive to the beach is a real plus because there's many plantations that prohibit that.
And they also have community little picnics and things within Leamington.
Do they do it at the beach club or do they do it by their amenity center?
Different places.
Yeah. That amenity center is lovely.
Yeah, it is.
Very, very nice.
Where is the amenity center?
Right as you come into Leamington, as you go through
Where
that
the pool
security
and all that
gate.
is?
Yeah, that's what I refer to as the
Okay.
amenity
Where the
center.
Arthur Hills clubhouse is, right? I mean, not
Yeah,
right near.
across
Right
the
before,
street.
Across.
right.
Right, okay, question, if you get a listing in there, how can you have an open house? How do realtors get into these places? And is there anything that realtors should be aware of that might get them in trouble?
When I do an open house, you just have to have a typed letter that you give to the security guards, and they like to have it 24 hours ahead of time, if possible. And then you're just with the property name, so if someone's coming, then they just give individual passes out. You have to go through the typical pass office. But they
So
don't
do you
charge
give
a
that
fee
letter
for an
to the
open.
pass office?
You give
or-
it to the security office,
Okay.
and they keep it there, and then they have it.
At the main Palmetto Dunes
At the
security
main
office?
Palmetto
Okay.
Dunes, yes. Anybody going into Leamington has to go to the main Palmetto Dunes
Okay.
office.
And is that if you're doing a public open house or a realtor open house, you do the same thing?
Right.
Okay. And is there any,
If you do a realtor.
Well, the
open house,
realtor, you don't have to. If you're talking
show
about the
your
tour,
card.
you don't have to. But if you were just gonna do it just for open houses.
okay. And is there any issues that you know of in Palmetto Dunes that realtors should be aware of to keep them out of trouble? Is there anything that could get them in trouble that's out of the ordinary? For instance, in some of the plantations, they have septic tanks instead of the sewer system. Or is there anything like that in
Let's
Palmetto Dunes?
backtrack to one more thing about
Okay.
access, because I've had instances where I've been wanting to go into Leamington, and typically I'll, show my card at the main gate to get a pass. But then when I go to the Leamington gate, usually there's a guard there, but sometimes on the weekend they're gone, they're not there, they're out to lunch or who knows what. And if you don't know the code,
You don't have to know the code, you just
Yeah.
call 000, and the security guy will pick up, and you
Okay.
just say realtor going into Leamington.
Yeah.
it
you just
doesn't
show
say
it
that
to
on the
them.
box there, I don't think.
It doesn't say that 000 is security, but if you dial that, which it does have 000, it says like
It
dial
says it on there.
000 to start.
Okay.
It says it
Okay.
on there.
Yeah.
It says it on there now.
Yeah.
I mean, I was just in there this last week.
Okay, good.
So it shows it, and you
can
just,
access it.
yeah.
Right from 278.
But you have to have,
No,
this is the back gate.
Oh.
So you
This
do
is-
have
yeah.
to go and get a Leamington pass. If you're gonna go show property in Leamington, you have to go through the Palmetto Dunes main gate and get a pass for Leamington. And then if there's
Okay.
not a guard at the gate for the Leamington gate, you just push the number there that's written down and just hold your realtor sign up. There's a camera and they'll buzz you in.
So Beth, you're saying your Palmetto Dunes pass that you pick up will not get you into Leamington?
That's correct.
So
If
you
you're
have
gonna
to
show
specifically
property,
ask for a Leamington?
yes. Yes.
I have been really fortunate in going into Leamington, if you just smile and wave, and I'm
I
like,
know,
you know what
they
you're
never
doing.
They never-
Anyway, it
I know,
works.
they're pretty
I've never
nice.
had it not work, but,
Yeah,
Right.
You know, but they won't let you go out the back gate, which is a
No.
right, you can't go out.
Which is like, when we're in there, I wish they would let us at least
Yeah, at least
exit that
leave.
way, but they won't let you.
No, they
No,
won't.
they pay like, I think it's $15,000 or, well, that's what it was back in 1998, I don't know if it's going up. But they pay a special assessment just to live in Leamington, and one of the privileges is that back gate. So you can be walking, they won't let you walk out that back gate. You have to turn around and go back the way that you are, so that's very exclusive to just Leamington.
the fee is
No,
$2,200, it's not $15,000,
Oh,
the annual,
okay,
yeah.
yeah, well, they
Yeah.
changed it from like,
Yeah,
I don't
we-
remember
we
it ever
went
being
through all that.
15,000.
I used to work there.
Yeah.
And so that's how I knew it, we worked
Yeah.
for security, and so that was this whole thing that we had to actually go through. So at some point, I just said, well, maybe it might have been a transfer or whatever, but they paid extra money, substantial amount, because $2,200 is not much.
Yeah, we went through all those fees at the beginning,
Yeah.
so I've got a list of that
Okay,
you
good.
can have.
And they had to pay Palmetto Dunes security
Mhm.
a bunch of money, maybe that's what. in
Probably so, because
1990. Because
at
now
the
they're
time
no
it was-
longer
Right,
doing that.
it was Greenwood at the time, and
Right.
Greenwood actually did through all of it. So
Exactly.
that's what it was, to the point if someone was to let someone out that gate, they were fired on the spot, no questions. So it was very
Um,
restricted.
To get
One
back, go
thing
back
I
to,
want to mention, oh, go
do
ahead.
you know if, Glenn had asked about sewer septic.
Uh-huh, it's
I'm not
all-
aware of anything being on septic anymore,
No,
are you?
it's all city. It's
Okay.
all city
Okay.
back there. And one thing I would want to mention with the villas, for people that are selling in Palmetto Dunes, great rental. And it's not just during the summer. There's such an active winter group there. I actually lived in Villamar for 2 years. And there's people that just return year after year to Villamar, Windsor, that whole area. So if you're trying to get rental year-round, it's a great place for year-round rentals. And the typical, like, for instance, Villamar, they gross between 35 and 45 a year for 2 bedrooms. I sold a Windsor 1-bedroom recently, and just the Windsor 1-bedrooms will gross 35.
Those are nice, and they're right there on the beach.
Oceanfront. Yeah.
I know there's a variety of facilities available for rent to the public for weddings and that. Can you kind of run down what those facilities are in Palmetto Dunes?
Well, when you ask that, are you talking about homes or?
Just public events, like for
Because
a reception.
They use the Dunes house, which is to the left, like it's right in here. It's the little beach club. A lot of times they'll rent that out for weddings. So the Marriott tends to have a lot of beach weddings, and then the Dunes house has them.
Are they doing them at the Omni too? My stepdad got married at the Hilton a few
Well, I
years
guess the
ago.
Omni too.
The Omni still doing.
My understanding is there's not a clubhouse in either facility? Like a clubhouse?
We have a,
There is a clubhouse.
there is a clubhouse, but
It's
you
not
join
something you'd
it.
want to take your guest in though.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So there's not a nice,
Join it.
I did, actually, I showed property there a couple weeks ago in the Fazio Clubhouse.
okay,
And
so
it-
it's just the golf clubhouse, not a
No.
social clubhouse?
No. it
Arthur
isn't.
Hills is nicer, but there's no unified, unite the 3 courses together like
Okay.
there are in some other plantations. And that was interesting that I was reminded of that when I showed property, and it was pivotal in the decision that my buyers made to be in, they love Leamington, loved karting to the beach, but they are golf enthusiasts and wanted a club environment, and Palmetto Dunes doesn't offer that yet. There's the Fazio Clubhouse, which is modest, and then the one at Arthur Hills, which is a little bit nicer. The golfing is excellent, but there is not a club that
Like
unifies
Long
them.
Cove
Like
or
Long Cove or
Well,
Sea
it's
Pines
not
or Port
private,
Row.
that's the difference. It's
Right.
Right.
You can join a club there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, there is a club. Yes, there is.
Right across
Yeah.
from.
You know
the
where by
Fazio.
Fazio, that building.
Right,
is
you're talking
across
about
from
right on the
Fazio right.
lagoon.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
a
yeah,
small
yeah.
little
Yeah.
club,
But you have
but
to join
That
them.
is
You
their
do.
clubhouse.
It's not open to all property owners. You
It's a
have to-
country
Right.
club membership, like.
It is a country
But
club.
Is
it's
it not?
very, very modest.
Oh,
And it's
okay.
very-
Because it's a conference
very
center.
modest.
No, that's.
No,
that's
no.
over by
No,
Jones.
that's not the same.
No,
thing.
this is
Maybe
a
it's
little
really
club
like
where they
a
have
club.
bridge.
Outside.
All right, okay.
Yeah, it's a small, it's right on the
I don't know
lagoon,
what the
second
fees
row,
are.
and I don't know what the fees are there either, but they
That's
have,
okay,
they
I was
have
just
women's
curious.
club, they have bridge
can-
and women's club and little luncheons and things.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
Okay. Did you have other topics, or is it just questions?
Does anybody have any questions?
Chris, did either one of y'all have information that we need to know about the villa complexes in there? Can you make money on them if you buy them net, not just gross, net?
Mhm.
What, is there anything that you should know
I
about
tell
that?
people in any area, Palmetto Dunes or Sea Pines or Shipyard, there is no net profit if you have a mortgage.
Okay,
You know, let's start with that. By the time you pay your taxes and insurance and your regime fees, and if you're with a rental company, they're taking their 35 to 45%. No, but I'd say that statistically, the villas that do well can gross anywhere between $20,000 and $50,000, probably on the higher end, ocean-oriented ones, yeah.
Or more, the,
Like a
Yeah.
3-bedroom Barrington or a
Well,
Windsor, could be 75.
mhm.
So let's say even up to 100,
Yeah.
but you know, your fees are high too.
okay.
So yes, you can definitely enjoy rental income, same as in Sea Pines, but it's not gonna, no property will support itself.
Okay.
Can I, as a former rental company owner there,
Yeah.
mention that some people are absolutely determined to go with a 3-bedroom as opposed to a 2. The net rental income for 3 is not necessarily commensurate with the purchase price.
Mhm.
And when the people kind of understand that, then sometimes maybe their budget is up to 4, but the 3-bedroom is $450, and they don't really want to do, when they understand that a 2 is going to net them about as much as a 3, they might sometimes get into the price range where you'd like them to be. The other point is